It's time. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Okay. Guest list. Has anyone not signed it? Ma'am, have you signed the guest list?
Now,
Why don't you do it now for me?
where does it say that you have to?
It's in our policy. Our school board policy says that all attendees to the meeting sign in. I would like you to sign that, please. Thank you. Okay, number C is oath of office, newly elected board member. That would be you, Mr. Rockwell. I believe you have your oath. The rest of us have already read this in unison, and it was beautiful. Almost. So, if you would kindly read the oath of office.
I can. Thank you. I, Spencer Rockwell, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Oregon, and the laws thereof, and the policies of the Cascade School District. During my term, I will faithfully and impartially discharge the responsibilities of the office of Board of Education School Board Member to the best of my ability.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we need to do anything else on that?
Nope.
Nope, we're good. All right. Then next is approval of the minutes from the July 14th, 2025 board meeting.
I move to approve the July 14th, 2025 school board meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the July 24th, 2025 board meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Prioritize the agenda. Mr. Drill.
Yep, you can just go right straight down.
All right, we will. Then the first report is Mr. Drill, oral report.
Got it. So welcome to August. Just a few quick things to cover. The nicest part probably about this August has been it's been fairly quiet. And what I mean by that is over the last 4 or 5 years, right, we've had seismic grants, we've had different changes, lots of changes in like air conditioning units and all that kind of stuff. Because we're tighter funding-wise and because we don't have a seismic grant, it's been a lot quieter, which has allowed our folks to really get after making sure cleaning gets done the way, and we're not like under the gun to make sure we get things done before kids show up. So the nice part is everything's getting done, like the gym floors have been redone, the painting's already done out here. Just the annual upkeep and the maintenance of things are getting done, I think, rather quickly. Across the state and the nation, the federal funding that was being held up by the federal administration was released 3 weeks ago. And so that means the title funds, we were worried a little bit that the state of Oregon may not have accepted them because they come with conditions. And our blue state and the federal red administration don't see eye to eye very often. So, but the state of Oregon is agreeing that we are going to go ahead and accept those funds. That means there's about $150,000 to $175,000 that will come back to us in the form of federal title funds, which is important. Trying to figure out how to make that work from before. And these are the funds that, not necessarily the original title, but there's title like 1, 2, 3, 4, and they have various amounts attached to each one. So we're excited that it looks like the money will come back. We will actually get our allocation that should have happened June 30th. It's supposed to come this week. So we're excited to see what that number is. Mr. Dyer is in charge of that. He will draw that down in the appropriate fashion. So that's good. Preliminarily, our student numbers don't show growth, but they don't show falling either. So we actually finished last year, I think the last count was 2,731 kids. And right now we have, again, preliminarily, this is very early, right? It's 2,729. So we're actually off by 2 kids. So registration will take place for this week for elementary. And then next week we will have secondary. So we'll know a lot more by the 3rd or 4th week of August about where we're at. And it's at that point then we take a look and see if we have space in certain grade levels, whether or not we do transfers.
Do we have any one grade that is substantially larger than
Oh
the
yeah,
others?
oh yeah, fifth grade. Fifth grade's huge.
The incoming 5th grade.
Yeah, and I think sophomores, there's a couple that are really big, but 5th grade is
is like 220, 230 type?
260,
Ooh,
255.
Oh, that's big, yeah.
That is
Okay.
the biggest one.
And what was it, I'm quizzing you here, but what was it last year when we finished the fourth grade
Pretty,
last year?
pretty close to
It
that.
was pretty huge
Yeah,
also, so
yeah.
it's not a surprise that the fifth
No.
grade's gonna be,
That is a big class.
okay.
Yeah, when they were kindergartners, that caught us right at the beginning, like, wow, this is really a change where we're gonna go
Right.
straight up, and it kind of plateaued out.
Right.
So, and that goes along with the idea that there's no movement in the specific building area, right? So there's no infrastructure being made up on the hill in Turner. There's no infrastructure in Almsville right across from the 3-5 building. Those are supposed lots for somewhere around 150 to 200 homes. We're waiting to see. Our assumption is that's because the interest rates are so high that, they're not moving on it. The one that everybody was worried about out there by the annex, as you come in from Salem, right, by the state pin, it's our understanding, though I haven't seen the document, that developer sold that land to a church. So that's what I've heard through the grapevine. Don't know if it's 100% true. We're going to try to see if we can.
The whole thing?
That whole thing. So I don't know if they decided not to wait any longer, if they tried something different. I'm not sure.
Wow.
So that is a change of what we were thinking about, what we need and how quickly we need to move. That said, there's still some things with regard to the bond that we discussed that we would move on in May on that we're still going to need. So we're working on that, and Greg's got a good handle of that altogether.
Did you happen to notice that, I think it was Cloverdale made the best of Salem schools in the Sunday newspaper?
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Good job.
Julia was quick to let me know.
Ah.
And as it should be,
Yes,
right?
of
I mean,
course.
as it should be. You
That's
should be
great.
dang
Yeah.
proud about that. The state of Oregon also recognized Cascade School District about their early literacy reading program. So they recognized in the Valley, Jervis, and Cascade for that. So that's out there as well. We'll see, Greg, can we find a way to maybe forward that to them so they can read it? I'd appreciate that. Thanks. I forgot that. That's on me. And then the third thing I have is our head football coach, Shane Hedrick, has agreed to temporarily be our athletic director. You probably saw in the packet that our athletic director got a job mid-July, which isn't the greatest timing. I'm really happy for him. Tough on our end to try to find an athletic director. Practice truly starts next week. And so that's tough. So we have held on to Mr. Rise, told him that until everything is finalized, we won't release his contract. We're going to release him on Wednesday. Shane has agreed to do it. Once upon a time, Shane Hedrick was the athletic director at Central. And if you see him, please thank him, because when we hired him, he looked me right in the face and said, "Don't ever ask me to be an athletic director." And just 2.5 short years later, I was asking, "Hey, could you cover for us?" But his response was beyond professional. Absolutely, love this place, want to make sure that things are right.
So he's doing the football head coach plus.
Yes, he is.
the-
So he's going to have some time where we have other people helping out with that. So when he's out at practice, Mr. Rasmussen, Mr. Woodrow, and Miss Walisa are working on some game day management, and we're also going to hire some of our own people to say, hey, we've got 11 soccer home games for varsity. You need to be there and greet the referees and go through it, and we're going to pay a stipend for that. And in the end, we'll still be breaking even across
Right,
the
that's
across the
fair.
board. So it worked out pretty well.
And
Yeah.
What about, is he still going to have the same classes that he's teaching?
He is going to hold on to a 5th period class,
Okay,
and the rest of the classes no. So we are posting a position for .8 of a job. So he'll hold on to one class
Okay.
and then do the athletic directing the other days, the other times during the
and
day.
is the .8 weight training?
He's going to hold on to the weight training class. That's the class that he wants
And
to hold
then-
on to. That's my
and the-
understanding.
Okay, and then the other weight training classes are covered by other people already?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't know what that looks like, but Mr. Rasmussen, if you get a hold of him, he could certainly let you know. I know they were
Okay.
working on that,
Okay.
trying to figure out what that would look like. Any other questions? That's what I have from a superintendent report.
So are you still trying to fill that position, and that's a temporary?
So it's a temporary job, so come January, we will post it like we're supposed to, right? And what I mean by that is, if you go out and try to post it now, in all honesty, it's gonna be very difficult to find an athletic director. Just because you post those jobs in the spring and you get your best choice there, what's left is people that didn't get selected. And I just feel like we need to find somebody that's very top-notch. And it also will allow people internally, if they want to apply, give us at a timely, let's say we pick another administrator who wants to do that job, that we will have time to replace that administrator. If we had done that right now, we'd be looking for a vice principal or a principal, or, so we're just playing musical chairs, chasing it, so.
One last question.
Yeah.
Because I have an intense interest in this area. So it's a 1-year at point 8 that
Mhm.
somebody's going to be covering, so
Mhm.
they know it's just a temporary position?
Correct.
And then he'll go back to it the next year?
That's his
Okay.
plan. That's his
Okay.
plan. He did say subject to change. He said he'd take a look at it, but he's told me before he's a teacher at heart. So
Okay.
I might eat those words, but we'll see what happens.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. And we've got to feel like he would be the right fit as well. So temporary means we get to open it. He can apply. Anybody else can apply. I'm sorry, Aaron?
I have one more question on here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Going back to your seismic,
Mhm.
your starting part, did we not get another one because all the buildings are now up to
No.
our satisfaction, or is it just we just applied and didn't get one this time?
The openings are starting next week, and the gentleman that's done 2 of our 3 seismic grants, right? 2, 3, yeah. He is asking our new finance director, hey, do you want to work through this, and we can put in a new application
Okay.
and see where we're at. So we're not going to miss on that. It's crazy for us not to, right? You can get up to $3 million from the state without any payback. We don't have to pay anything back, and we get more areas of these campuses more protected from a big seismic event. So we're excited to be able to try to do that. We'll continue to do that. The legislature did fund more seismic grants up to the tune of $100 million for the biennium. So
Is there some reason we didn't get one for this past summer?
we put in for one, and they chose not to pick.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
we were like, okay. So it was the Almsville 3-5 building, part of the building itself. I don't quite understand why, but again, we put in for the grants, and then the states puts them in order as to what they think is most important.
Okay.
The 3-5 is the new one or the old one?
The old one.
Okay.
We also suggested the junior high gym, because we did the high school old gym,
Right.
and we've suggested the Almsville gym itself. There's some places that we've
See, don't we
suggested
want
it.
the 3-5 to fall down?
Well, I wouldn't put that out there publicly like you just did, but I think that,
Of course we do.
yeah, it's not the best place in the world to educate kids, I'll say that.
Nor to put resources into. But
Correct.
Yeah.
Understood.
Right.
Correct.
Good
Understood.
point.
Of course, we
Good
don't want it to
question,
fall down.
good question. Anything else from my report?
Questions? Nope. All right, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Drill.
Well-
Moving on is the finance report.
Mr. Drill?
Mr. Drill.
Yeah, I'm right back.
Hey,
I'll be
welcome.
quick. Mr. Wang will finally be completely moved from Arkansas. He wanted me to say this, starting Wednesday morning. He will be here. A number of roadblocks stopped him from being here tonight. He is very frustrated about that. You kind of heard me saying he had pods supposedly where they were going to be delivered so he could load everything up, put the family on the plane, wait for the stuff to show up, and then only one pod showed up and the others were like, oh, by the way, they're going to be delayed. So then he was just standing, waiting for the 4 or 5 additional days, and nothing he could do. So work some from there, from remotely, but wants to be back here. So apologizes to you, apologized to me a number of times. I told him it's okay. We will have financial reports for you in September. So that's one. We are doing well financially. We are solid. We haven't, no big uptick and no big downtick. We're kind of right where we need to be. We talked about that in our admin retreat and the finances, about how we need to be tight, we need to be smart, and we need to go back to the ways of the world back in 2013, 2014, 2012, 13, 14, about this is how we handle stuff here. And our administrative team knows that my first response is going to be no. We can't do that. You better give me bigger reasons than I just want that. So we're working on those details. I think, and I feel like we've hired well. We've done a lot of, we've had a lot of, not a lot, we've had people leave, and we've hired almost exclusively younger, because frankly, they were the best choice. But we also saved a little money that way. That wasn't the intent, but it just kind of worked out like that. So that's been a really good thing for us. And we're going to watch different programs very closely. One really great moment that we found out was that We believed right at the end of June that we broke even in our food service department, and please understand that it was easier to break even the last 3 years because we had the COVID money, the ESSER funds, to be able, it's COVID money to help us with that. This last year was really a year where we didn't have those funds to kind of cover food service, and Kendall broke even, which is what the goal is. And then we found out that the state said there was a surplus of cash in the food service area, so we're gonna get back an amount of money. We're thinking somewhere between $30,000 to $40,000, and so she'll finish ahead a little bit.
Nice.
So, yeah, we were excited about that. She did a great job trying to make sure that we were feeding kids healthy, but we were doing it the right way with the right amount of employees. And she had a number of employees miss, so she was scrambling this last year, so we were excited about that. And then finally, again, Mr. Wang, the finance director, Mr. Weeks, the HR director, Mr. Dyer. In the last 5 weeks, those 3 gentlemen have met more often than probably those 3 positions have met in the last 3 years about making sure that we are all on the same page. So HR knows exactly how many FTE we have, where they belong, where they're coded. Mr. Wang knows exactly which program they're coming out of financially, down to every person and the percentage of time that they come out of. And Mr. Dyer has those slotted into title or SIA or early literacy where they're supposed to be. These are positions outside of the general fund, so they want to be crystal clear about where they're at and how we fund those. I have been just really surprised and pleased. Not surprised, I mean, I knew they'd do a good job, but it's just been even better than I imagined. So I wanted to publicly let you know that we're off to a great start with those guys, and really self-motivated on their end. Hey, this doesn't seem quite right to me. 2 sets of fresh eyes, and Mr. Dyer a little bit on the frustration side of like, do we have the money for that or do we not? And it's worked out really well. So really excited about that. Any questions from the finance end?
Nope,
Okay.
nothing. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Moving on is discussion and communication personnel, new staff recommendations. That looks like it's going to be Mr. Weeks.
All right, in your packet there, you have a few names in front of you. Most of those are going to actually look familiar as we work down the list. There's 2 new hires to the district. It's Kiriana Sorensen and Nolan Kramer. Kiriana will be an elementary teacher at Cloverdale. That's the vacancy that we announced last meeting. She's filling that 4-5 slot over there. And then Nolan Kramer is going to step in a temporary English position right now. And so we have those 2. And then the others you see in there, Lillian Roth and Sorensen are coming back. They were temporary last year. They were temporary again this year. So they're just coming back in the same temporary roles they shared this previous year. And the other 2 are PERS retirees. So they are staff that have been with us for a while. They're PERS retired. And so you see some of those every single year as they come back. And that's, as we talked about earlier, the one that you didn't see in terms of the retirement from before, and because their contract automatically ends. These are 2 that are continuing on with us, and that is John Pat Davis and Terry Moore. So those are the ones you see here.
Nice. Okay, any questions? No, that's it.
All right.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
And 5B is non-resident student tuition rate.
So in your packet, it shows the non-resident student tuition rate. These are people that, so we can take transfers in if we choose to, but somebody can also show up and say, I don't care if you're full or not, we're willing to pay the full tuition rate to send a student to Cascade. We can still say yes or no, but with the new law about if we accept transfers or not, most people are not interested in paying us to take their kid. But by law, you have to have this written down and discussed and then voted on for you guys.
Do we have anybody paying the full load right now?
No,
No one.
no.
Okay.
It's the very, very last resort, and quite frankly, we can still say no. So
Right.
if we're full at a class, or at a class level like we're talking about 5th grade, 5th grade at every elementary school is full. We have no more room. I mean, then you're talking about 29, 30 kids in a classroom, and that's too many.
Okay. All right, any questions on that? No. All right, thank you. 6A is staff resignation. Mr. Weeks.
All right, we have 2 resignations to announce this evening. One we talked about already, and that's our athletic director, James Rice, off to take a principal position in another district. And the other is Kayla McVicker, and she is actually moving out of the state. So she's, her whole family has moved off to Tennessee, so she is not with us here in the district any longer. So we're announcing those 2 resignations this evening.
Does, we already talked about Mr., is it Rise?
Rise.
Rise, about holding him to his contract. Do the teaching staff, are they held to a contract where we can say, no, you have to stay for X number of days?
Yeah, anybody that's licensed under the Teacher Standards Practices Commission, TSPC, can be held 60 days with their
Okay.
license structure.
Okay.
So a district can choose to waive that if they want to do that. We have interviews tentatively scheduled for later this week and the beginning part of next week to see if we can fill that position. We've actually got quite a few applicants coming in already, so we do anticipate being able to fill it. As we have those, if, in those cases, we do like to release when feasible, because especially when you have someone out of state and moving out of state,
Yeah.
it's not like they're trying to leave us high and dry just
Right.
going next door
Taking
to a
better
district.
deal, yeah, so in this scenario, if you don't find a good person, do you, well, I guess that's hard, you can't say until we're decided if we're there or not. But the option is, we certainly could hold them.
Yeah, you could hold that individual. You could also release them and
Right.
choose to go and contract maybe with EduStaff for a long-term sub to start the year. You
Right.
could choose to go with a retired educator to start the year on a temporary basis as you look for that hire. So we do have some options on the table if we chose to not
Right.
retain that license or hold it.
Okay, wonderful. Questions? Nope, all right, thank you again.
Thank you.
Next is 6B Student Handbook. Mr. Weeks.
Yeah, you'll see two different pieces in your packet here. One is the student handbook, and then the second in there is the staff handbook. Those handbooks, every year we receive a model from OSBA that has all the legal changes within it. The OSBA also in their quarterly basis do the policy update recommendations for us too. And so these handbooks fall just in line with the different policy that has been put into place over the last year. So we update those as going forward. There's two minor typos in there that you'll see that we need to get corrected. One of them still has James's name in there as athletic director, and the other under staff conduct, there's just a small typo of two letters that got transposed that we got to do a little switch on. So you'll see two minor changes on that when they come out. But other than that, what you see in there, all the changes, they're in red as you look through within that as also. So you'll see everything changed. Again, those are just to comply with the policy and law changes, and those come from OSBA.
So
Okay.
I've, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, they come from OSBA, we do add some of the Cascade twist to it, so you'll notice it'll say something about this is how the high school does this, but this is how the junior high does this, but this is how the elementary school does this. So as we move forward, the conversation is gonna be about cell phones and how we manage that, because it's a new requirement. We're working on that, we had a long conversation about it, and I don't mean to cut Jay off here, but Jay will bring the new policy, which is required by law to be in front of you by October 31st, but we're going to start it at the beginning of the school year. And
And
there's nothing worse, yes, there's
Give us the
nothing
overview
worse.
on that. What does that mean?
It means the policy has to be in place by October 31st, and then we actually have to put that policy into place by January 1st.
Right.
But we all know, starting half a year one way and then switching
Yeah.
is a bad idea, so.
What's the new rule?
The new rule is from bell to bell, no cell phone,
All grades.
all grades. Yeah, well, let that sink in for 5 seconds. At the elementary, in all honesty, at the elementary level, it's fairly easy. There's moments.
And junior high too.
Mostly.
But
It's
they do
gotten
have-
worse because students even carry a fake phone with them. So, and their parents text them regularly during the day. So, and their claim is they need to know where they're at so they can pick them up and that kind of thing. But we have parents that just text them on a very regular basis. So we have that issue. The high school, for the most part, in the classroom, the administrators, I don't think I'm talking out of turn when I say the administrators feel pretty comfortable being able to do the classroom part of it. We have, most of our teachers, and now there's a rule, so the teachers are like, nope, there's the phone, you can't do it, that's the way it's gonna work. Passing time will have its moments. What Mr. Rasmussen is really concerned about is lunchtime, because we spread out across this campus.
Right.
And we literally have to be able to look somebody in the face out here walking around the campus, no, you can't have your phone. That's gonna be a tough one.
Or sitting in their cars or whatever. Yeah.
Correct.
Are you kidding me?
They
That's gonna be
shouldn't be
awful.
sitting in their cars.
Yeah. OSBA and COSA did ask, it was in the legislature and then it didn't pass. We had asked for an amendment to say, K-8, we totally get it, we completely understand, but in the high school, can we have some options? And the factioning sides never agreed and the whole thing fell apart. And then 2 days after the legislature ended, the governor, put together an executive order and said, you should make it so. So, here we are trying to scramble with that. I think most people would agree that having a cell phone is not good for a child's brain, right? But it is also being used for many communication ways for them to communicate. Lots of high schools this last year didn't, in Oregon, did not, they did a cell phone ban. And lots of them reported that it was hard the first couple of months, but it got better. And funny thing happened along the way to getting rid of cell phones, people started talking to one another. And they noticed that, those high schools that did it, they noticed that lunches were loud again. So, and the reality is, and even, I think Pete and Tyler would tell you, right, our kids don't live with their face in their phone. They do use it, there's no question about it, but it is, I walk through the lunchroom, lots of kids are talking and visiting, so it's not like they're completely addicted, but we have kids that are very connected.
So there's no collection thing in the morning, because I know some schools are doing that, but.
Many schools use what they call pouches, which is they put an RIFD pouch where you put the phone in and it blocks it, right? But at $15 to $20 to $25 a pouch, we didn't budget for that. So I believe at the moment, our kind of semi-consensus was, we are going to be telling kids, please don't, please don't deal with that, please put it away. If we've got to talk to you on the 6th or 7th time, then we're going to have a different conversation. It is also now legal to take their phone and hold on to it. So there was some question about whether or not that was legal. And parents would come rushing in and say, you can't touch my kid's property. And we're like, yes, we can. It's a little like saying your car's on our parking lot. If you don't behave, your car doesn't have to be here. So there are some changes in the rule, there's some changes in the law. Jay's done a great job of talking with our administrators about what that looks like.
Is there anything in that law about everybody's kid is going to be special and need to have their phone? Is there?
There are
wiggle
some
room?
exceptions, particularly around IEPs and special
Right,
education.
sure. Okay, that's fair.
But Kathleen said, lots of IEPs, they use phones so they can listen to music, and they put that in. She's like, that's easy, we're gonna buy iPods. I'm like, if you can find one. But she said there's lots of other ways, and somebody suggested, you can hook into your computer and play music.
Right.
And if that's what they're after, Kathleen's like, we can easily
There's a
accommodate
workaround,
that.
yeah.
Now, there's a few kids that have diabetes that need to have monitors, right, so they
Oh,
know
right,
what that
okay.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna work on that process. Our new school nurse is already involved, so we're working on that. But that's gonna be, you could end up with some folks visiting you to talk about cell phones. But it is a state policy, it's a state rule. And the governor's executive order is a little different than the federal executive order because it's actually part of the Constitution apparently. I haven't read that part, but that's what I'm hearing from the lawyers.
Well,
So,
the good news, frankly, is we're being told what to do here. We're not, this isn't something that we said, we think we're gonna go this path. You're
Correct.
being told, thou must.
those of you that were around for a while, we got told what to do 5 or 6 years ago,
Yeah,
and we saw how
yeah.
that went. But yes, I totally agree with you.
Right.
So we're hopeful that people will understand that, and we'll go from there. So 31 states, 30 states? Can't remember. I think you were telling me that. 28 states already have laws that say cell phone ban, K-12. So another couple of weird places about it. On the bus going to a game, you get out at 2:30. Technically, you can't be on your phone till 3:10. So we're trying to deal with what that looks like. And if you go on a field trip, right, during the day, you're not supposed to have your phone. So we're trying to figure out what those processes look like. So we'll work on those. I think that's it. Sorry, Jay, I cut
That's
you off.
okay. Any other questions?
Any questions about the handbooks? So I'm gonna make, I wanna make one statement on the handbook. I was reading through it, and there's, on page 34 of the medical certification, it says, staff members applying for FMLA and/or OLFA leave may be required under FMLA, blah, blah, blah. I just find it interesting that we put may be required to provide documentation instead of thou must, because it's kind of subjective when you're in medical issues to say may. I just found that kind of interesting that the handbook doesn't take a position on that. So if we require it from one person, do we require it from another?
We actually stand with our policy or procedure, I should say, more than policy, is that we do ask it for everybody.
Okay, so our may is we do.
We do.
So we're not getting into the, well, you didn't ask them for it, why are you asking me for it? That was my only concern.
Yep.
Dynamite, thank you. Good answer. Any other questions? Okay. Moving on, same on the handbook, do we need to go over the student parent handbook?
Same kind of thing.
Same comment applies, same
Yeah.
page, same verbiage.
I think Jay had it covered both, so.
Okay, so we're good on that? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, and is that it on the student parent handbook? Moving on? Okay, now we're on to the public comment, and my understanding is we have none. None? Dynamite. Then we're moving on to resolutions. Resolution 8A, resolution regarding new hire recommendation.
Be it resolved, the Cascade Board of Education moves to approve the hiring of new certified staff members for the 2025-26 school year as recommended by the administration.
Second.
Resolution regarding new hire recommendation has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 8B, resolution regarding non-resident student tuition rate for 25-26.
Be it resolved, the Cascade Board of Education moves to approve the recommended tuition rate of $11,178 for the 2025-26 school year.
Second.
Resolution regarding non-resident student tuition rate for 25-26 has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Future agenda items, Mr. Drill.
So we will have more conversations about the cell phone process and policy. We'll get that in front of you for sure. Continued conversations about bond prep and what that would look like. And then again in October, unless you guys change it, that's the month where we go long and we have the goals from the different areas come to have that conversation with you in an earlier meeting. My thought is we would continue to do that, but I wanted to double check with you guys to make sure that that's the direction we want to go.
Yeah, I think it's worth it having everybody in the room and talking, a big open discussion.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of value in that.
Absolutely. We can do it. We will plan for it.
Okay. Anything from the board? Yes, sir.
Something. I ran across recently some interesting reading about some districts who are having a student school board member. It's kind of a thing that's going around. I have a good friend whose son was that in Utah. And I'd like to have it be a point of discussion in the future. It's, what I understand, it's a non-voting position, but it's a student that's elected by the student body who gets to join us and be a part of our process. And I think it's an interesting concept, and I think it could be engaging for students, certainly those who are interested in what we do and then the governance as a whole. I don't know much about it, candidly. I just kind of heard about it in the last and kind of piqued my attention. So I'd like to bring some additional information and share it with Mr. Drill and then have a larger discussion about whether that's something that our district would be interested in entertaining.
Cool. Are they, just out of curiosity, if you know, are they elected for the whole school year? Do they swap midterm? Is it just one student? Is it one from every grade?
The only ones that I looked into and read about in this article, it was a 1-year term, a school year term, elected by the student body, and there were some pretty significant criteria that were. It was, I think, age was one. It wasn't necessarily grade-based age, and academic progress and success, lack of disciplinary history, all sorts of other things, parent approval, all these different things. But the one that I read about was a single school year term. So essentially now through when they would finish their school year.
Right.
And it'd be interesting to have a voice of our students who could come. And I mean, frankly, I think it'd be fascinating if I were given that opportunity as a student. I think it'd be fascinating. So anyway, I'd like to at least propose it and think about it. And it may be a years-long process. I realize that, but I thought it'd be an interesting discussion to have.
In Oregon, generally, some districts do that. The way I remember it, it's usually the school board, they apply, and then the school board selects, not necessarily the student body. So we can find out. I don't know if there's a specific process to it, but I can find out and see. So bring me the info.
And Mr. Dill, I wasn't asking you to do any work at all. Because
okay.
as if you don't have enough stuff on your plate, I'd like to do the work. I'd be willing to do the work and
Okay.
bring it to you, and then have you say I need more of this or that, and
Okay.
then share it with you guys. I wasn't asking to put more. So if
Sounds
that's
good.
if with your guys' blessing, I'd be happy to look at that.
Happy to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. It is now 7:34. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Didn't make it.
Failure.
What did she say we did last time?
26.
27. I don't believe
No,
that.
I
I don't
was
believe
26.
that.